A Horse and Two Goats, Part 2 by R.K. Narayan. Let's continue. So, the shopman felt encouraged when other customers stood around to watch and comment. More likely, you are 70. The shopman said, you must be 70 years of age. He said to Muni, you also forget that you mentioned the birthday 5 weeks ago when you wanted castor oil for your holy bath. Now he again make fun of Muni, saying that you forget that last time also when you come to ask for castor oil, you mentioned that your birthday, it's your birthday. Now within a time span of 1 month, again your birthday falls. And this time your daughter is also sending money. So at this, Muni unobtrusively rose and moved off. At that, Muni immediately rose and moved away from that place because he realized that his unholy craving could not be satisfied that day, as the shopman was not ready to give him anything out there for credit. Even he asked for the ancient debt also. So now he returned back. He later told his wife, that scoundrel would not give me anything. So go out and sell the drumsticks for what they are worth. So now Muni said, that person, that shopman hasn't given me anything. So you should sell the drumsticks out there and just see whatever money you can get from it. He flung himself down in a corner to recoup from the fatigue of his visit to the shop. Now he was an old man. He was extremely exhausted that day. He went to the shop from his home, from his hut to the shop. He was insulted there and he did not get what he was expecting. So he was completely exhausted at that time. He flung himself down in a corner to recoup from the fatigue of his visit to the shop. His wife said, you are getting no sauce today. Now the wife declared that you are not getting any sauce today. Obviously, he also knew that because he was unable to get anything from the shopkeeper. So, no sauce today, nor anything else. Neither anything else also. You could get nothing because nothing is there in the home today. I can't find anything to give you to eat. Not that lady one also, the little ball of millet and all that thing. I can't find anything to give you to eat. Fast till the evening, it will do you good. Now she said that fast till the evening, it will be helpful for you. Just fast, keep a fast out there. Take the goats and be gone now. Take the goats and you must go right now. She cried and added, don't come back before the sun is down. She also ordered that you should not come back before the sun is down. He knew, Muni knew very well, that if he obeyed her, she would somehow conjure up some food for him in the evening. Muni knew very well that if he listened to the orders of the wife, she somehow by some magical trick or God knows how, will bring up some food for him at the evening. Only he must be careful not to argue and irritate her. Only he must be careful that he should not argue or irritate the wife. Then it will have a catastrophic effect out there. Her temper, remember what I said about her temper. Her temper was undependable in the morning but improved by the evening. She was sure to go out and work, grind corn in the big house, remember the big house, grind corn in the big house, sweep or scrub somewhere and earn enough to buy good stuff and keep a dinner ready for him in the evening. Now this is entirely up to the wife out there. She could do so many works out there. She could grind, she could sweep and then could get some money with which they could have the food at the evening. So unleashing the goats from the drumstick tree, remember it was with the drumstick tree out there. So unleashing the goats from the drumstick tree, Muni started out, driving them ahead and uttering weird cries from time to time in order to urge them on. Now Muni was uttering weird cries to call for the goats and out there, and he started out. He passed through the village with his head bowed in thought. He passed through the village, his head was bowed down in thought. He was deep thinking out there. He did not want to look at anyone or be accosted or be approached. So Muni did not want that anyone should talk with him. A couple of cronies lounging in the temple corridor hailed him. A couple of friends out there who were sitting idle out there, they called him. But Muni didn't want to talk with them also. He ignored their calls. The shopman had said that he was 70. Now these things were going on in his mind. That the shopman had said that he was 70 years of age. At 71 only wait to be summoned by God. The 70th age when usually people dies. So he was thinking about that. it was going on in his mind. The 70, he will surely die within a span of few days or weeks or months. So, when he was dead, what would his wife do? Now it was his chief concern. You could see the concern for the wife. That what the wife would do when he would be dead. They had lived in each other's company since they were children. They were living in each other's company since they were children out there. He had been told on the day of wedding that he was 10 and she was 8. Now the child marriage. Child marriage was obviously at that time was happening in the country. So at the time of marriage, he was 10 and she was 8. Progeny, none. No children out there. Perhaps a larger progeny would have brought him the blessings of God. So these also you could see the social conditions that people used to believe that large progeny would be the blessing of the God out there. So, and you could see the child marriage also out there. The child marriage was prevalent at that time. So progeny none, perhaps a large progeny would have brought him the blessings of the gods. Now these things were going on this old man's mind out there. Only on the outskirts did he lift his head and looked up. Only at the outskirts of the village he lifted his head and looked up. He urged and bullied the goats until they meandered along to the foot of the horse statue on the edge of the village. And he urged and bullied the goats out there, and finally they all reached to the statue out there, the horse statue out there. He sat on his pedestal for the rest of the day. He obviously would sat on the pedestal rest of the day, and the advantage of this was that he could watch the highway and see the lorries and the buses passes through the hills. The advantage, he could have many views out there. The vehicles were passing through that place, so it obviously gave him a sense of belonging to a larger world. It gives him a belonging that yes, he too is present here in this world. He too have a life, and so by watching all these things, he have an effect out there. Now these are the things you could clearly see the life of a lonely old couple out there. They don't have any progeny, they don't have money also, and obviously you could clearly see no one to talk to also out there. So now what happens? He used to spend his time watching at the buses and every other vehicles out there, and the wife goes on to other house just to sweep or to scrub and then earn some living out there. So, a very sad state of affair for this old couple out there. It gave him a sense of belonging to a larger world. The pedestal of the statue was broad enough for him to move around as the sun traveled up and westward. It was a broad statue pedestal out there, and he could easily move from one side to another as the sun is also moving. So, or he could also crouch under the belly of the horse for shade. Or he could crouch under the belly of the horse for the shade if he needs some. The horse was nearly life-size. Now the description of the statue and all the thing out there, these things you must remember. The horse was nearly life-size, molded out of clay, baked, burnt and brightly colored, and reared its head proudly, prancing its forelegs in the air and flourishing its tails in a loop. The horse was obviously burnt and brightly colored out there, head was proudly up out there, and forelegs were prancing upward out there, just as the horse statues could see the legs are upward out there. And beside the horse stood a warrior, and beside the horse there is a warrior also, with scythe-like mustachios, bulging eyes and aquiline nose. And along with that horse there was a warrior also, with a blade-like mustachios, bulging eyes, the eyes popping out, coming out, showing the bravery and the valor. These things could be seen in the statues. When the statues are made, obviously, it's in order to show the bravery of that person, the eyes are kept bulging out, so that it seems they are brave. And an aquiline nose means eagle-shaped nose, just as the nose of the eagles. The horse itself was said to have been white as a dhobi washed sheet, and had on its back a cover of pure brocade of red and black lace, matching the multicolored sash around the waist of the warrior. Horse obviously was known to be as white as the dhobi washed sheet, and had on its back covers of pure brocade, which matches the sash of the person with the mustachios. But none in the village remembered the splendor, as no one noticed its existence. But none in the village, not a single person in the village have noticed it. So it was there, it was present there, but no one noticed it. just as Muni too was present there, and no one was noticing him. No one was there to notice him. He was just like the stick out there. But even Muni, who spent all his waking hours at his foot, even Muni, who also spent his entire day at there, never bothered to look up, at the statue. It was untouched even by the young vandals of the village who gashed tree trunks with knives and tried to topple off milestones and inscribed lewd designs on all the walls. Even it was saved from the vandals also. Those boys who write something on the walls, just topple down the milestones, the comments and everything are written in the walls. They also had spared that statue. No one has come near that statue. This statue had been closer to the population of the village at one time. Now this statue was closer to the population of the village one time when this spot bordered the village, when this spot was the border of the village. Now you can clearly see again another social condition is shown here. Previously it was the border of the village and now it was called as outskirt. So what is happening? People are migrating from village, they are going to the cities in order to earn their living. So now this spot which once was the border of the village is now called as the outskirt. So these are the social conditions which are also being written in this story out there. So this statue has been closer to the population of the village at one time when this spot bordered the village, but now it's an outskirt. Muni sat at the foot of the statue watching his two goats graze in the arid soil. Muni was sitting at the foot of the statue and the two goats were grazing in that barren soil out there among the cactus and the lantana bushes. So these are the things that are growing here. It was arid soil. He looked at the sun. It had tilted westward, no doubt. He was looking at the sun. It had tilted westward, no doubt. But it was not the time yet to go back home. Else the wife would be angry again. So, if he went too early, his wife would have no food for him. If he went too early, the wife wouldn't have any food for him. Also, he must give her time to cool off her temper and feel sympathetic, and then she would scrounge and manage to get some food. And also, he was waiting that the wife's temper would cool, so that he felt sympathetic towards that old man and would scrounge or seek for some food out there for the